So you noticed sudden onset bleeding from the anus. Um, it could be anything, but the commonest cause is you have injured. So let me quickly draw. Keep the camera rolling. I'll quickly draw. Good. So I'll quickly draw for us. Um, the this is your anus where feces comes down from. Inside this place, like this, there is material here like this. This circular part of the anus. So while you're watching this video, attempt to shut your anus up. Let it go. Close it again. Let it go. You see that action, what you're doing is sphincteric action from here, from this circular part. I hope this is straight enough. From this circular part, you can close and open. But there is this part here that looks like this, that jams closed. So what it does is, as it jams closed like this, it completely seals off the anus. So even if you are having a diarrhea, water, fecal matter, fluid, whatever it is, can't leak through it. So it completely it's made of veins and certain connective tissue and materials. What it does is it completely closes off. So when what is coming through this place is hard stool, because you don't drink water, stool may tend to cut part of this, and this is made of veins and connective tissue. So it cuts it, and of course you're straining so while you're straining like that, you're going to squeeze out of the vein. So it's just think about the blood, the vessel. The vein is a pipe-like vessel that carries blood, and now you're pressing it and you're squeezing it. Blood will come through. So I see people say things like they went to the toilet, and when they want to go, blood spurts out like that. It's most likely coming from an injury here, from these two. So how do you fix that problem? The moment you have an injury in your body, of course, the body goes into repair mode immediately. So from the last time you went to the toilet, the body has started trying to sort the problem out. The only challenge is that this is feces coming from this place. And if you imagine that you had an injury in your leg and then you use feces and rub inside, you see why it looks like when the second time you bled again. It will delay wound healing, number one, by physically being inside that wound. So the wound does not have time to placate and heal. But aside that, there's also wound infection from the feces. You see? So there's something I will give you that will clean up this place, clean up the injury, and but meanwhile, if this has happened, what you can do is to make sure that you take a lot of water, so that next time feces is coming through, it does not re-injure an injured space. So I'll give you something that will clean it up, and then something that will make the clots, because of course, once an injury happens, in a couple of minutes, except for people who have bleeding disorders, in a couple of minutes, the body sends a blood clot there and bleeding stops. Then after a while, the clot is removed and the whole place is rearranged and sent back to what it used to be. But the first thing that comes there is a clot. So I'll give you something that will keep that clot there so that the bleeding will stop. You have to call me. There's a number in the description where we can address this issue directly. I'm explaining to you what has happened. So this is one of the causes of bleeding through the anus when you go to the toilet. This is one of them. Another cause of bleeding through the anus would be the distance from this place to your stomach is like 5 trouser lengths. What I mean by trouser lengths is when you take your trouser and the two legs, you spread them out like this, and then you tie 5. That's how long the intestines, both the large and the small, before you get to the small, that's how long it is. But all of that is, they are all, what's the word for it? They are gathered together in this form, or are gathered in this form by God and packed into the stomach. But when we were in medical school, I can remember when we were cutting the cadavers, the actual corpses, where we will dissect and get into the abdomen and bring out the thing. You see the length we have while we are studying the anatomy of the human male and female. So if you're bleeding from your stomach because again you have an ulcer wound, an injury in the stomach, you don't typically bleed red like this because of the distance that blood has to travel from the stomach to this point, to the toilet. So there are enzymes that digest food that will also digest components of that blood and change the color to almost black. So it's brisk red like this. Then there is ox blood, and then there is deeper red, and so that darkening of the red tends towards black. So you're going to have black stool if you're bleeding from far away stomach. But if the bleeding is so much, the volume is so much, it could tend to overwhelm the digestive enzymes and all of the chemical material in the gastrointestinal tract. It may overwhelm them and show up in the feces. So that's even a more dangerous sign. If somebody is having bright red blood in fecal matter, in feces, and it's coming from the stomach, that is a candidate for hospitalization. You should go to the hospital immediately. So whichever way, if you see blood anytime, you should go to the hospital. You know. So we will decide what to do and where the bleeding is coming from. So go to the hospital, whichever way. But in that phase aid window where you're worried, and it's very late to go out, you can call me. Whatever time you want to call me. It costs some money to call me though, but you can. There's provision. My number is everywhere. You can find my number, text me, get on a call from anywhere in the world you are at, and I would tell you what to do, in the interim, and what to do, depending on where you are in the world, and what to do, what next to do by morning. To me, you're calling me at night. So that's one of the other places. But there's something interesting that happens to a lot of people. Bile, hemorrhoid. Like I said, the GI tract looks something like this. I like this marker better. It's clearer. So this is your anus. So if you close and open, this is what helps you do it. This helps you close and open the anus, voluntarily. But I now said there's another material that looks something like this that also helps to close. It's inside the anus there. Helps to completely close off the passage so that you don't leak feces out, no matter how much diarrhea you have, until you decide to go to the toilet. And it sits just like this on this side. I hope you can see the board. And it sits just like this. So they close together like that. Now, after years of go to the toilet and you're straining, instead of taking water to where the gastrointestinal tract already beats to squeeze food out. So if you have enough water in the fecal matter that is coming or the feces that is coming, what will happen is once you just open the sphincter, once you open this part, the thing will just come all the way down because already this part has some peristaltic beating action to it that can push things out. But because you are not drinking water, so fecal matter here and the material the wall is made of, what it does, it absorbs water. That's what it does. So the material that the whole of the intestine is made of, the whole of the intestine, the material in the wall here is water friendly. They take water away from, they're absorbing nutrients, absorbing plus water. So the longer whatever it is you took is staying here, what is supposed to be feces that will come down, the drier it will become. So by the time it gets here, it's so hard. You have to now apply extra external force or straining to push it out. So because this thing is hard and might have sharp edges, it will tear you, of course. But not just that. After years of straining, this is normal. Let me show you. Let me show you what will happen after years of straining like that. What will happen is this. So this is the normal. You will now find that this thing that was put here by God to support and close the space up is sags. So this is the sphincter. Now it's hanging out. So we go, a lot of adults, 70% of us have this problem. Fish going to the toilet and come out. We touch outside, we will feel something outside that may go in later. So this is what you call pile. When the material God put in here to close off the passage of physics now sags from years of straining, just like a woman with sagging breasts. And somebody tell you they give you something for because there's nothing that you're doing for breast that is sagging. That's not surgical correction. But I'll teach you how to correct it now if you're having that problem. Some people have just this. Some people have this with pain. So I'll tell you why there may be pain even when you have this problem. Remember, these sphincter here opens and closes by voluntary control, right? But most of the time, we are not conscious to know that we have been closing it tightly. Sometimes from a reaction, something that shocked you. Sometimes you're trying to sit down as you're moving, you're having that pressing action happening there without even paying attention to it. Now, if I take your finger like this marker and I squeeze it like this very tightly, it's a matter of time before you start feeling pain. And I squeeze it very tightly like this. So this that's now sagging out now has this sphincter thing tightly closing off on it like this, with or without your notice. And over time starts creating pain. So if I pick your finger and I hold it for a while, that's the same pain you feel. So that's one source of pain for people that have this problem. The second source of pain will be that the hard physics. So this is the physics, the hard physics that you have made. Some of it may have some rough edge that will also cause a tear in this stuff while it's coming back, coming out down. You know, so there's injury there. There is also possible compression pressure, and there's infection because the physics you made has a lot of bacteria in it. You know, so there's wound infection, and then there is compression pressure at the same time. So you feel like you're running mad, man, and you're looking for help. This is how to solve this problem. If you're going to listen to me and do exactly what I see, like a miracle, this problem is going away. You're going to listen to me. Step one, I'm going to give you what to do. This one is not teaching, I'm telling you what to do now. Every time you think about going to the toilet, so follow the instructions. Every time the thought of going to the toilet happens, I'm not saying, I'm not going to say drink water because everybody knows that advice and nobody follows it. So I'm going to give you steps now on what to do. Every time you think about going to the toilet, with the thought of going, drink water. We're going to create a new habit for you now to save you from surgery. Because this gets to a point, some parts of this will die because every part of the body receives blood. So if you keep tightly closing off a particular part of the body, after a while, blood will not go to get to that part, and then it will die off. And when it dies off, the cells that form here can spread and make us come and cut you inside here. You know, so when this happens, if we find it early, we'd have to cut it off somewhere here so it doesn't spread and go in. When it spreads and go in, we may go in with it. Of course, when there's bad cells up to this point, we give it gap a bit because sometimes we're not able to access the extent. So go up a bit and then we'll cut here. So somebody will cut your handles for you so that they don't do that to you. Every time you think about going to the toilet from today, I don't know what you used to drink, whether it's water in a cup, whether it's sachet, whether it's in a bottle, whatever type of water you drink, take the whole cup completely. This is whether you feel thirsty or not. We are not drinking water according to test again. We are drinking water to fix a problem. This is therapy water now, water therapy. You know, so you take water, even if you just swam, finish swimming, and you drank some water in the pool, but then you now thought about going to the toilet, drink again. This is doctor's prescription now. You didn't pay any money for this one. That's the first step. What will happen is when you start doing what I just said now, the next time you go to the toilet, see what will happen. So we had this before, originally when we were born, but over years of training and not drinking water, we created this problem that is up to this long. So we have, let's say this is 6 millimeters length. What will happen is when you start doing what I just said, every time you go to the toilet and come out, you have something like this happen. So some prolapse will happen, but it will be very minimal compared to this much. because water will not apply the same amount of pressure that fecal matter that is hard will apply. Softer feces will not apply that same amount of pressure. So the amount of prolapse you have is not as much. So spontaneously, without doing too much, this one goes back in and we're good. And of course, softer fecal matter will not create injury, will not tear. When you now come into the room, wherever when you're done, and you now check. So there's something I'll give you. If this is a big problem for you, call me. Something I'll give you. You will now use that thing I gave you. Use it to check. Do you have anything outside? Any of this outside? If you find anyone, you use what I will give you now. You now send it inside with your hand, manually. You send it inside. You send it inside. So while you're sending it inside, what I give you, some of it will go in and check. If there's any injury anywhere, to go and feed the wound sterilization. That's cleaning it to be not infected again. And it's going to end the wound healing. But prevention is always cheaper than cure. You know. So we have this problem, we can still ameliorate it by following these instructions, very express instructions, with the thought of going to the toilet, drink water, so that the amount of prolapse you get from the anus is way lesser after you drink water.